you are used to holding your threads when you're starting to sew. If you do, I want to show you why you probably have done it in the past and how you don't have to do it with the Singer Fashion Mate 3342 sewing machine. So here's the trick, and I remember being taught this when I was a young child and learning how to sew, is my mother taught me that when I was done with a row of stitching is to turn the hand wheel towards me, which now the arrows on the hand wheel show that exact direction, and then to bring the take-up lever, which is this part right here, so it's all the way at the highest position. At that point, I was allowed to lift up the foot in the back, pull my fabric out, and cut my thread. What I was actually doing is finishing the last stitch I was doing and making sure that stitch was complete. That way, when I put my next piece of fabric in, lower the presser foot, everything is ready for it to start the new stitch. So when you start to sew, you don't actually hold on to these threads. And I'll show you why you might have felt the need to hold on to the threads in the past. So let's say you stop and we're ready to take it out, and you turn the hand wheel towards you and you bring your needle up. Now you can see the needle's pretty far up out of the fabric. It should be no problem. You pull your fabric out and you cut your threads. But if you look where the take-up lever is, it is not at the highest position. It's way down here. So that means it hasn't finished the last stitch. So we pull the fabric out, we cut the threads, and the last thing the take-up lever does to complete the last stitch is pull the thread all the way up and out of the bobbin area, which often is when you saw your thread getting pulled out of the needle, which is why you held your threads when you started to sew, because if you didn't, they would come. It was just trying to finish the last stitch, but it was yanking the thread out of the needle, and you felt the need to hold on to the threads. So here's the thing. Complete the stitch, continue to bring the take-up lever to the highest position, lift up the presser foot, cut your threads or use a little cutter on the side of the machine, and you'll notice that as long as you put fabric in far enough that the first stitch is going to come into the fabric, not in air, you'll find that your stitches and the start of your machine, you do not have to hold those threads. So if you get into good quality starting and stopping habits, I guarantee you, you will solve like 80% of most people's sewing headaches.